Good morning, I'm Jason. I'm a retired mechanical engineer who basically spends his days just driving around in a motorhome and going mountain biking and bushwalking and sort of stuff like that. So my core purpose on my channel is just to share my daily goings in my van life experience, and I have been getting quite a few questions because I do a lot of mountain bike riding. I've been getting questions about my bike and people asking to share some details, so that's what this video is. A little bit different to what I normally do, but if this is what you're after, then feel free to enjoy. So about my bike, I'm riding a 2016 Specialized Stumpjumper, fairly old. I would like to upgrade to the current model Stumpjumpers. There's a few different models in the current model as well now, so I guess if you're interested in my bike and you're interested in what's available right now, Stumpjumper comes in a kind of the regular garden variety, which I guess is comparable to what I'm riding. And then there's the Stumpjumper Evo, and the Evo is a much more aggressive bike, different geometry, set up for much harder trails. But the general Stumpjumper is a very, very capable bike. Like this one, I do everything on it, even downhill trails. If you're really up to speed on your Stumpjumpers, you will notice that mine's not actually a Stumpjumper, it's a Rime. And yes, it's a women's bike. When Specialized had a trial day where you come out and test their bikes, they had run out of the men's ones and said, here, take the women's one, it's exactly the same. It's just got a bigger saddle on it, really. I rode the women's bike and all was good. And then when it came time to buy it, the women's and the men's bikes were on sale, and the regular price was $7,500. Men's bike was reduced to $6,500, women's to $5,000. So it made it a no-brainer for me. So I ended up buying this for $5,000, and luckily got, I think, the last women's bike available, and then bought itself a second set of wheels, which all up was about $1,300. You don't need two sets of wheels, of course. This was a 650 semi-fat bike, so it had 27.5 inch wheels and 3 inch wide tyres. Seemed like fun at the time. It was something that everybody was raving about, but having owned it, it was a gimmick. 3 inch tyres were a joke. Once I got the 29ers, I never went back to the 3 inch 27.5s. So obviously it's not a cheap bike. $5,000 plus what I spent extra on it, and that was on sale, significant sale. So this range starts from about 3.5 in today's terms, I think. To replace this today is probably about 8,000. Specialized is not the cheapest brand. Specialized and Trek are pretty much on par for being really expensive, unless you get into some of the boutique brands, and then they're even more expensive. Always pays to shop around and see what you can find, and always wait for the sales if you can. Now, suspension wise, this is a trail trail bike. It's classed as a trail bike. Standard, it had 150 front and 135mm rear travel. I've upgraded the forks to 170mm on the front. Totally transformed the bike. I'm running RockShox Lyrics on the front. Really nice, I love them. I now have a RockShox shock on the back as well, but I've had all sorts of stuff on the back. I've had the Fox shock rebuilt once, and I've been through 3 other shocks as well. Just wearing them out, basically, just smashing them out. I'm only on my second set of forks. But yeah, no comparison between RockShox and Fox. The RockShox are so much better, smoother, plusher, and suit my riding style. So, as I said, 2016 model. Had it for quite a while. I'm over 26,000 kilometres on this now. So yeah, it's copped a beating. Quality-wise, really frame-wise, I haven't changed anything. And there's lots of bearings and stuff in the rear suspension. They're all still the originals. But as I said, I've replaced the forks because they wore out completely. And I've replaced the rear shock about 3-4 times. And your drivetrain wears out all the time anyway, so been through several of those. Well, the question is quite often then, what bike should I buy? So if you're looking at getting into mountain biking, This is overkill, but will last you pretty much forever. You know, as your skill builds up, you'll be able to push it further and further, and this bike will always be more capable than you, which it is of me at the moment, unless of course you're more capable than me, which is possible because I'm not really all that good. Now, I had a 29-inch Trek hardtail out of Trek Superfly, and that was a brilliant bike, very, very fast, very light, like about 11 kilos or something, and it was just an aluminium frame one, so it wasn't the top spec, it was the sort of middle of the road. I rode that out here and got some of my fastest track times on that bike, but it's a race bike, and being a hardtail, there are a lot more effort to ride because you've got to, you know, yaw the suspension basically. So they're a great bike to start off on, and the only problem with the Superfly was, because it was a race bike, it was a little bit flimsy, the wheels were pretty light, and took a bit of a hiding and are a little bit out of shape. So as for buying your first bike, two ways you can look at it. You can go expensive, buy something really good and make it your only bike ever, or you can go cheap, work out what your riding style is, and then as you progress you'll be able to then make a better decision on what bike you should buy in the future. To me, that's the best way to do it, and that's basically what I did. I was riding a Kmart bike out here on that trail for quite a few years until I could afford something real. So I think in reality, buy within your budget, build your fitness, build your skills, and when you outstrip that bike, there will always be something that will make you be better. For wheel size, if you're starting out, go 29, right? Everyone will say, oh, 650Bs are so much better, they're so more playful, but you're not going to be doing massive jumps. You're not going to be slamming through rock gardens and shredding turns and stuff like that, right? If you're a beginner, they're advanced skills. And yeah, a 650B or a 27.5 might be better for that sort of stuff, but only in the hands of the right rider. 29er, faster rolling, less effort to pedal, and actually has a lot more grip. And that's why they don't shred corners, because they actually stick. So, yeah, you'll notice that all the elite athletes now are getting on 29-inch wheels. How much should you spend? I think, in my opinion, if you're going hardtail to start with, 1,500 to 2,000 is not a bad price point to get into. Again, look for sales, be patient, because they've had big price drops. If you go in dual suspension, 2.5 grand will get you an entry-level bike, but really, you probably want to be closer to 3 or 3.5. Just to make sure you have reasonable components on it, and that you're not going to be frustrated. So there you go, this is what it looks like. It's around 29-inch, of course, 2.4 wide tyres, got the Maxxis dissectors on the front. There's my RockShox Lyric forks, which I upgraded from the stock 150 Fox forks up to the 170mm treble there. Definitely worth doing, that was a big thing. I run a shorter stem on mine, so this is probably about 60mm on the standard bike, but I like a very short stem just for the way I ride. Everything else is pretty much standard there. I'm still using the same gear selector that was original, so 26,000 Ks on that. Rear shock, I've been through a few of those. I've got a RockShox on there at the moment. Can't rave about that, it's worn out pretty quickly, so I think I'll be up for another one pretty soon. I do go through rear shocks pretty quickly. Also rear wheels, I'm on my third rear wheel because I bash them and break them. I'm running much higher pressures on the back now, running 32 PSI on the back and 22 on the front, just to try and stop the back from getting smashed to pieces on rocks. The front's still the original, not the original, but the original replacement wheel that I bought. The originals were 27.5 inch, but yeah, I haven't damaged the front wheel at all, but the back one cops a beating on rock gardens and things. Front chainring, it's an oval chainring, 28 tooth I think it is. I like the oval, it gives you a lot more traction on rocky climbs and things like that. Really smooths out your pedal strokes and makes it makes it much easier to climb up things rather than slipping and gripping all the time. And the rear cassette's the ZTTO cassette. Now these are a bit of a bargain. Order these on AliExpress. Same with my front chainring, actually got that on AliExpress. It was about $55, $56. But the cassette for the back it was about 150, I think I got the last one for. It's a wide range, it does 9 to what is it, 9 to 46 tooth, I think it is. So it's a pretty wide range compared to what SRAM has as their standard parts. It was originally SRAM on this one, and you know, this part here was about $320, $340 to replace for an equivalent spec part through SRAM, but yeah, 150 to 160. I am running a SRAM derailleur, mainly because I smashed it to pieces and had to buy another one, so I went to a bike shop and just got it quickly. That was only about $200. It's a low specs, just GX. Pedals, you know, the bikes generally don't come with pedals, so you have to bring your own, but these are actually just Venzo, really cheap things. There's a theme happening here, isn't it? Everything I put on is cheap. But I've got these from a cycling deal. This is actually my second set of these, because I smashed my last set on a rock and broke one of the clips. But yeah, I find these work fine. They're light again, and low cost. You know, they're probably what were they, $60, $80, whereas an equivalent, you know, Shimano or something was going to be about 150 or so. So save a bit of money there. And the dropper post, I've upgraded the dropper post on this to a 170mm unit, and definitely wouldn't go shorter than that. But again, depends on your riding style. I like to get down nice and low on the rough trails, and using the good old ZTTO stuff again for the dropper post lever. And this has been really good. This was only like $35 or something silly, quite cheap. It's all machined aluminium and everything, so it's really, I'm surprised at the quality of that for the price, when every other dropper post lever from the big companies is like $80, $90 plus. So I hope you found that video interesting. I filmed it over quite a few weeks, so might seem a little bit disjointed, but hey, that's the way I roll. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them, and it'd be really nice if you wanted to subscribe along and check out some of my daily adventures that I get up to. See you next time.